and welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Mash. Tonight I'm doing something I've been wanting to do for a while but haven't ventured into doing, is butter chicken. I found a recipe. I'm going to do it tonight. We'll see how it goes together and I'll let you know at the end of this episode if I like it and if I'll be tweaking things next time. You never know, because that's how I do most of my recipes. I find them online, I see if I like it, and then I end up giving it a mash twist. So let's get started. On the stove, I already have some rice that's cooking right in there. I'm going to be putting some steamed veggies in here. And then in here is what we'll be making our butter chicken. Except instead of using chickens, we'll be using chickpeas. Let's get started. I need to get some veggies in there to start steaming and then we'll get on to this. Most butter chicken recipes call for coconut milk, but I figured I will do this one with cashews. And since cashew cream does not really exist, we're making our own. So this is about 1/3 of a cup of cashews, and I am going to soak it until I start preparing the rest of my stuff. So it's going to be soaking for about 15 minutes or so. I'm soaking it in boiling water. If you're going to soak it in tap water or lukewarm water, you will have to soak it for much longer. Otherwise, it will not be soft enough and it's going to take you guys a while to get into a creamier, milkier format. I'm just going to cut up a small piece, put that to steam a bit, and then I will add some frozen veggies. And as soon as my carrot is partially cooked, I will add these in and steam them just for a little bit. So I've already prepared the spices here. The mixture is very simple. 2 teaspoons of garam masala, 3/4 teaspoons of cumin, 1/4 to 3/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. This depends on how spicy you want it. We have also cinnamon, about 3/4 of a teaspoon, and that's all in here. Oh, also ginger, I forgot, 3/4 of a teaspoon. I use a little less because I'm not a big fan of ginger. So that's my first tweak. I'll add some salt, some pepper. I will tweak that later as well. And that's our powdered mixture for now. Next, the recipe calls for 2 onions, or 1 large onion. I'm gonna chop them up. Okay, now I'm definitely crying. I eventually switched out to a bigger knife because it just worked better. Next we need garlic. We need 2 cloves. Let's see if I can survive and not cry for very much longer. Nope, looks like I need to rinse some stuff off. I'll be back. Now to chop off these into little tiny pieces. Alright, now we can set all this aside and we'll move on to actually starting cooking stuff. Before we start actually cooking anything, I want to get our cashew cream going. So we've got this that's been soaking for a while. They should be pretty soft. It says to put in a high-speed blender, but it's a very small amount, so I wouldn't suggest putting it in a blender. I will be trying it in one of my little choppers. So let's see how that works. Rinse and drain your cashews. Add it in here. We will need about 2/3 cup of water. It says to use filtered water, so I'm going to use the water that we have on the counter, which is boiled water. So 2/3 cup. In it goes. To mimic the sweetness of milk and creams, it says to add 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. You can omit this and keep your cream sugarless if you want. but this is a really neat natural way of adding sweetener to your creams and your meals. So there's about 2 teaspoons. Let's close this off and see how it goes. This is clearly not made for this. Look at all this juice coming out. So I've decided to use a different tactic. I put it back in this bottle, in this container, and now I've got this thing out. So we'll try and do it this way and see how well that works out. Seems to be working much better. Look at that. Alright, that's about a minute long. Now if you were making actual cashew milk, you would pass this through a nut bag and make sure you get all the extra fibers out, but we're not going to be doing that for this session. We're just going to put this directly into our food. This recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of coconut oil. Since I'm avoiding coconuts in this whole thing, I'm going to be using refined. So that's, and the reason why we're using a lot of coconut is because it's supposed to be butter chicken, right? It's supposed to be a very greasy, buttery food. So this is about 3. It started melting before I could count, so there we go. Now that it's all melted and it's nice and warm, we're going to add this. These have been frying for about 5 minutes or so. You notice they're just a touch translucent. Now comes the time to add the spices. Just pour all of that right in. Mix it well. I'm doing all of this on medium-high heat, by the way. Now you gotta stir quite often to make sure nothing gets stuck at the bottom for about a minute or so until things start getting flavorful. Now we add the garlic. We stir that for another minute. Next we gotta add 2 cups of canned tomatoes. You can get fresh tomatoes if you want. Get them boiled so you can peel off the skin, and then you can use 2 large tomatoes. Or you could be cheap and lazy like me and simply add 2 cups of canned tomatoes. So that's 1 cup. See if I can now do it this way. That's 2 cups. I feel like I got too much juice. So what I'm going to do is actually add a couple more, just a full tablespoon of just the pulp. There we go. Mix that around. Next thing we need to do is actually add the cashew. I think I'm going to wait until this comes a bit up to speed on heat. Don't put this too far because we will be using it to crush the entire thing. see some boiling process happening. That's good. Let's add the cashew to all of this. Like that. Let's mix that up. Let's get our blender back out here. Careful when you're doing this. You don't want to spray all over the place. Turn down the temperature so it doesn't boil in your face either. This is looking a lot like a rosé sauce and less like a butter chicken sauce. Maybe it's just me, maybe it's the coloring in my kitchen. Let's have a taste. Ladies and gentlemen, I might have added too much tomato. It's all good. Let's spice this up a bit more. Let's see. What's missing in here? There's definitely salt and pepper that's missing. Let's add that. Let's try this again. Definitely better. I can taste those little flavors in there. This one's not very spicy. I've seen some recipes call for paprika. We haven't added any to this one. And it's not very, very spicy, so I will actually add more cayenne. There's like barely any spice in here whatsoever, and Indian cuisine has to have spice. So I'll add more cayenne peppers. I definitely do taste the buttery chicken flavor in here, which is really nice. The color is not the color I'm used to seeing, especially since we're used to getting the canned version of butter chicken. It's a more, I don't know, pinkish version. Maybe next time I'll add some paprika, because I'm a paprika freak. Let's try this one out. Definitely. That punch is now there. Not overpowering, but definitely delicious. I feel like it didn't have enough spices, or quite frankly, I might have put too much tomato. So now we will add our chickpeas to it. This is 2 cans of chickpeas. It has been drained and rinsed. So let's add that in. So the temperature on my stove is very low because I don't want it to boil all over the place and make a mess. It already attacked me once. We're gonna let this sit for a bit until the chickpeas also heat up, and then we'll be ready to serve. So this is the final result. I've got my steamed veggies there. I've got my butter chickpeas right there with some nice basmati rice. And lucky me, I found myself a lovely little vegan wine to have with it. So I'll let you guys know what the final taste is. So that was the butter chickpeas. Or butter chicken vegan style using chickpeas. It was great. It was super tasty. I would definitely do it again. I would tweak it some more, change the spices around, or not change, but add more. Other than that, I was very satisfied with my plate. I filled my plate a little too much. I couldn't finish it. And I'm probably gonna use less oil next time just to see if I can pull it off with less oil, because it is a very heavy meal to digest. And the wine is absolutely delightful. It is a very dangerous wine. That's what we like to call these kind of wines in our household, because it doesn't taste like water, but it flows down like water. It was super cheap, super affordable. It's vegan friendly. It's not a vegan wine. They don't brand themselves as vegan, but they don't use any animal byproducts to fin their wines, so that's really cool. That's why they're vegan friendly, but they don't brand themselves as vegan wine. So that's really something I'm excited about, because I've been looking for a really good white wine that I can have. Yeah. So that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you give it a try, let me know what you thought. If there is anything you changed about it, spice-wise, if you added more, if you added less. I don't recall if I mentioned what the spice quantities are in the video, so I will write that down in the description box so you guys know what the quantities of the stuff I used more or less ended up being. And if you have any questions, let me know. If there's another kind of butter chicken recipe you'd like me to give a try, let me know. Message me, leave a comment, like, share, give a thumbs up, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye!